Magandang gabi. Ako po si Trixie Cruz-Angeles and this is Luminous live on YouTube. Ang topic natin po today ay para maintindihan natin ang strategiya ng ating military dito sa pag-address ng CPP-NPA insurgency, NPA-NDF o yung insurgency problem natin, communist insurgency problem natin. Natin ng konti. Ayan. Okay. Double check ko lang po kung kamusta na po tayong lahat. Today is the 11th of December and I want to check on the on who's online. Sorry. Saglit. Ayan. Magandang gabi. Hi kina Joseph Domingo, Princess Eureka. Dun sa tinatanong ni Ma'am Princess kung okay na pakiramdam ko. Opo, kanina pa pong tanghali na wala na po yung migraine. Hi kay Maximiliano. Christian Espiritu. Opo, okay na po ako. Sandali lang po. Usually it lasts about 2 or 3 hours para sa akin. Kaninang umaga. Normally kasi pinipilit ko pagka may migraine. Pag tumalab yung gamot, I just go to work. So you never really notice na meron na. This morning hindi lang tumalab talaga, hindi ko naunahan ng kape. So, okay, magandang gabi sa ating lahat. Our topic for today is para ang pag-iintindi natin ng strategiya na ginagamit ng ating military para i-address ang CPP, NPA, NDF. Kung mapapansin niyo, kung monitor natin yung ating mga news, makikita nyo marami, sunod-sunod na po ang inaaresto ng ating PNP. At nag-issue na nga po ng statement ang karapatan at sinasabi, ina-explain nila kung bakit panay ganito ang arrests recently at ang claim nila ay tinatanim yung mga baril at mga granada dun sa mga inaaresto nila na usually either high-ranking or allegedly high-ranking officials or ranking officials sa CPP, NPA, NDF. Halimbawa si Amanda Chinese, anak ng tinatawag nilang si Karandi, who is a consultant, who at the time of his death was a consultant with the NDF. Supposedly or allegedly, si Miss Amanda naman ay isang miyembro din or kadre ng NPA. Meron pang ibang mga inaresto, medyo high profile yung pag-aaresto sa kanila, isang labor organizer and so on. At sa lahat sa kanila, merong mga sinoserve na warrant of arrest at mayroon ding nahahanap either na barel in the case of sino ba to? Yung recently, mga barel, handguns lang po ang nakuha at saka 2 grenades na para yatang standard issue ito dun sa mga nahuhulihan nila. Ngayon, ang claim karamihan sa kanila ay tinanim yung mga barel. Medyo mahirap pong paniwalaan, lalong-lalo na pag mahahaba yung barel. And explosives po are very difficult to come by. So yung mga grenades na yan, medyo mahirap din pong paniwalaan na ito ay tanim. Gayunpaman, yun ang gagamitin nila na defense sa kanila. And it is a valid defense as long as they can prove it. Pero ayon dun sa kanilang mga abogado, lalong-lalo na mga abogado dito sa karapatan, sinasabi nila na kaya ganyan yung style o strategiya na ginagamit ay dahil madali naman daw kumuha ng search warrant at madali din magtanim ng mga barel dito sa kanilang mga inaaresto. And for me, objectively speaking, valid naman yung concern na posibleng nakakapagtanim ang mga pulis at pare-pareho yung strategy na ginagamit dito. But there's an overarching principle here which we will discuss later on. Gayunpaman, dahil dumadaan sa proseso, inaaresto sila, maaari namang patunayan nila sa hukuman at magpresenta sila ng mga ebidensya nila. Halimbawa, kung merong naka-witness dun sa search, kung tunay nga bang na ito ay simpleng tinanim o yung mga tao dun sa bahay alam nilang wala talaga, or merong mga tinatawag natin, usually kasi nire-require yung mga barangay officials, sometimes a member of the press, sometimes pero mostly kailangan talaga may mga witnesses doon sa pagsaserve ng search warrant. So kung ang pag-serve ng search warrant ay regular, at nakita naman or sinamahan naman yung mga police officials natin sa pagsa-search, then that is also the defense of the police na valid and regular yung kanilang search. Gayunpaman, ginagawa ngang issue ng kanilang mga lawyers supposedly yung pagtatanim. Let's leave it at that for the moment. Pero ito yung ito yung dapat iniintindi natin. Tingnan natin lahat ng mga ginagawa ng ating military at police to address the CPP, NPA, NDF problem. Unang-una, may counter-propaganda na. Mostly on social media and of course, pero nilalabas din ito sa traditional media. Yung ginagawa po ng NTF-ELCAC, yung pag-identify ng mga taong sumusuporta sa NPA. This is giving aid and support sa mga rebelde, people who are taking up arms against the government. Wala naman pong masama sa ganun, lalong-lalo na kung may intensyon ang military natin mag-file ng mga kaso. Pero kahit hindi po sila mag-file ng kaso, mahalaga po na may counter-offensive dun sa social media at saka sa media ang ating government forces. Kasi halos kontrolado ng kabila yung narrative. Halimbawa, yung paggagamit ng human rights, which is valid advocacy, karapatang pantao, karapatan pambabae, yung pagtutulak ng women's rights, advocacy sa edukasyon, pagpoprotekta sa magsasaka, pagpoprotekta sa uring manggagawa. Ginagamit po yung mga causes na to at gumagamit ng mga allegedly cause-oriented groups na nagbibigay ng aid o ng suporta doon sa mga illegal na grupo katulad ng CPP, NPA, NDF. So, yung pag-subvert ng mga advocacy na ito at paggamit ng mga grupo na dapat ay nagtutulak ng matitino naman na sana na advocacy ay sinasubvert ito, kino-corrupt ito at ginagamit against the very principles they're espousing. Halimbawa, ang pagtatanggol sa karapatan ng pambabae, pagka nag-recruit ka naman, pupunta sila sa NPA at ang dami namang rebelding mga rebel returnees na nagrereklamong ginapang sila, ni-rape sila, pinagsamantalahan sila ng kanilang mga commander. So, it's a subversion. Nagpapakita sila ng pagsusuporta o pag-advokasya para sa pagpuprotekta sa karapatang pambabae, pero parang ang lumalabas, nagiging front organization lang talaga sila. Ang punteriya nila, labanan ng gobyerno, labanan sa propaganda ang gobyerno, at magbigay ng tulong, kahit moral support man lang, doon sa underground movement. Okay? So, kailangan, matindi kapit nila yung tuloy-tuloy yung propaganda nila. Masama ang gobyerno, bastos ang gobyerno, di ginagalang ang karapatang pambabae, bastos ang gobyerno, hindi nagbibigay ng sapat na pondo para sa edukasyon, binabaliwala ang karapatan ng kabataan, hindi pinapakinggan, meron pang mga nagva-violate ng human rights and all of that. Pero these are primarily geared para mawala ng credibility ang estado o ang gobyerno, para mawala ng capability ito mag-govern ng maayos at lumakas yung opponent dito, yung kalaban, and which is the insurgency, the CPP, NPA, NDF, and other insurgency groups. So, hindi lang ang purpose ng NTF-ELCAC ay mag-file ng mga kaso against those who are giving aid and support. Kasi yung ibang aid and support, although legal, they have disastrous consequences. Ang consequences, halimbawa, ay yung pagsasali ng ating kabataan sa underground movement, putting their lives in danger, destroying their future, dissolving families, nag-aaway-away ang mga pamilya, nawawalan sila ng mga miyembro and all of that. Diba? So, they present a danger. Kahit yung rhetorical lang nila, kahit yung propaganda lang nila, may danger din yan. So, kailangan kinokontra yan. So, partly, that is what the NTF-ELCAC does. Ine-expose nila yung ginagawa ng kabila. Pinipresenta nila yung mga witnesses laban dun sa mga para inarate yung mga tunay na pangyayari dyan sa kanayunan, yung recruitment efforts, yung propaganda, saan sila kumukuha ng pondo, and all of that. The purpose isn't just to file cases. Although kung may makita silang krimen, magpa-file sila ng kaso, pero dapat mayroong nag-oppose dun sa propaganda that these organizations regularly churn out. Okay? Ano pa? Walang Christmas truce. Hindi nagrekomenda ang AFP ng Christmas truce para hindi pahinga, hindi makagather ng lakas, hindi makapagpwesto, hindi makakapag-ambush ng mga sundalo. So, this is calculated para mapagod yung kanilang kalaban. And pinagbigyan naman ng Pangulo dahil nga kadalasan during a truce or during a ceasefire, ina-ambush pa rin nila yung ating mga sundalo. So hindi parang pumatas na yung laban, o sige, wala na lang truce na yan. Ambushan na lang kung ambushan. Kung kaya silang i-ambush ng AFP, go lang yan. May anti-terrorism law at yan ang pinopromote natin at sa kasalukuyan ay ginagawang lubos na ganap ng mga ahensya na involved dito. Although china-challenge siya sa Korte Suprema, wala naman pong TRO to stop its implementation at sa ngayon tapos na po ang IRR, so nandun na sila sa planning and organizing stage yung Anti-Terrorism Council. Gayun pa man, yung anti-terrorism law, ina-address yung mga issues katulad ng pagsusunog ng mga equipment, ng mga cell towers na ginagawa routinely ng NPA kapag sila ay nangingikil o kapag sila ay nag-extort sa mga negosyante, sa mga telcos, sa mga government contractors, tulad ng ibinulgar recently tungkol doon sa DPWH. Yung sinasabi ni Eric na binabasa nila doon sa website o meron silang source sa loob ng DPWH mismo na nag-identify kung sino yung mga kontratista at doon naman sila sa mga kontratista mag-extort ng pera at mag-threaten na susunugin yung mga equipment nila o papatayin yung kanilang mga workers kung hindi sila bibigyan ng pera. So, yung anti-terrorism law is supposed to address this kasi yun nga, yung kapag ikaw ay nagpopondo, kapag ikaw ay nagre-raise ng pera para sa isang terrorist organization, then ikaw ay isang terorista rin or at least makukulong ka in accordance with the law. Yung continuing arrests dito sa city, katulad nga ng sinasabi natin tungkol dito sa PNP, ang pag-aresto nila sunod-sunod ng mga nandito or yung mga tinatawag nating hiding in plain view ay para mawalan na rin sila ng pagkakataon, yung mga fighters nila na nandun sa countryside, hindi na sila makakapunta dito para magpahinga, mag-leave, mag-whatever, or magpanggap na sila ay legitimate na. Kasi kapag kahit umalis ka sa CPP-NPA, tuloy-tuloy pa rin ang pagsuporta mo dun sa organisasyon. And therefore, di ba, criminal ka pa rin, rebelde ka pa rin. Kung hindi pa dinideclare na terrorist organization ang NPA, gayon pa man kayo ay still nagko-commit pa rin ng crime or acts of rebellion. Okay? So, ang ginagawa ng ating military at ng PNP ay pinuputol nila yung capacity ng mga fighters nila na pumunta dito sa cities either for rest, recreation, pahinga muna dahil mainit na sila dun sa kanayunan, or going legit sila, going straight. Kasi kahit naman going straight sila, hihingan pa rin naman sila ng pondo ng kanilang mga kasamahan doon sa underground movement. So, yung pagpuputol din ng funding katulad ng address ng extortion activities through the anti-terrorism law, tapos itong ang counter-propaganda. Dito sa counter-propaganda ng NTF-ELCAC, ini-expose nga nila sino tong mga negosyante dapat na inilalantad, nagbibigay, sino tong mga politiko na nagbibigay ng revolutionary tax or campaign fees sa ating NPA. Kailangan i-expose yung mga yan para hindi na po makapagsingil ng mga revolutionary tax, donations, or whatever it is you call it, ng mga NPA. That will also destroy their capacity. Ngayon, and finally, yung pagbibili ng ating AFP ng additional na equipment, di ba? Recently, dumating na yung 10 na choppers, may padating pa na 6 sa kasalukuyan na yung Black Hawks. Nakakatakot. Yung mere presence nga ng Black Hawk, di pa nga natin ginagamit. Natatakot na yung mga kalaban. Kasi pwede yan gamitin. Targeted yung very aggressive yung move na yan. Kahit doon kayo sa bundok, maaari itong mas maneuverable ang choppers at saka nagbibigay ng kailangang air support para sa ating mga ground troops. Nakakapag-provide din ng reconnaissance itong mga to, mga pinpoint kung saan lumulungga yung mga insurgents diyan sa bundok, sa gubat and all of that, madidetect yung kanilang mga movements. Also, high-tech equipment is being purchased if they have not yet been purchased already. 'Di ba? Maraming nagdo-donate din sa atin ng mga infrared and all of that for easier detection even during nighttime. So lahat ito ginagawa ng AFP para matugis na matapos na right finish, tapusin na natin itong insurgency dahil kung hindi natin tapusin, walang development dun sa mga probinsya. Kaya nga yung mga nagsasabi Imperial Manila, pero karamihan naman nagpupunta dito sa Manila para magtrabaho kasi nga hindi ma-develop ang countryside. Hindi ma-develop dahil especially in areas na maraming insurgency kasi panay ang sunog nila, extort nila, may problema sa peace and order, wala tuloy maka-invest dun sa mga lugar na yon, and therefore, walang development. So, until ma-address yung mga issues na yon, which the AFP is now doing, hindi magkakaroon ng laganap na pagde-develop dun sa mga ibang lugar. And especially the provinces, they not only deserve it, it is very late in coming. Very late kasi nga itong mga CPP, NPA, NDF ay ayaw nilang sumulong ang ating development, lalong-lalo na ang ating economic development. Kasi syempre naman, pagka may economic development sa isang lugar, dadami yung mga edukado, dadami yung mayayaman, dadami yung negosyo, dadami yung mga trabaho, hindi na sila magiging relevant. Hindi na rin sila magiging convincing. Kasi part of the reason na convincing sila is kapag yung mga tao, feeling nila, hindi sila nakapag-participate sa economic development ng bansa. Kapag hindi ka nakakapag-participate, you feel left out, ayan, you're dissatisfied, yan yung mga madali ma-recruit. Kasi nga, wala kang nakikitang ibang future, wala kang nakikitang ibang pagkakataon para maayahon sa kahirapan or ma-address yung mga nakikita mong propaganda. 'Di ba? Okay. Meron din po, sabi ni Lilaw Lim Astete, di ba may mga drone tayo? Opo, may mga drone din tayo. So, kasama din po yan dun sa equipment. Yung ibang drones kasi talaga, they're for recon dun sa West Philippine Sea. Pero gayon pa man, magagamit din sila dito sa counter-insurgency natin na operations. How can the government stop the recruitment of students in the state U? Ito na nga yung ginagawa ng NTF-ELCAC. Kung hindi kayo makapasok sa mga campuses as of now, i-blast mo sa social media itong mga ginagawa ng CPP, NPA, NDF sa pagre-recruit ng kabataan. Umiikot, halimbawa, si Mrs. Lucena sa iba-ibang mga venues, kausap ang mga magulang para makausap yung mga anak nila. In some instances ito, yung pag-post natin, pag-discuss natin on social media, lumalaganap at kumakalat yung impormasyon tungkol dito sa recruitment at kung ano nangyayari sa kabataan natin kapag sila ay namumundok. So, dyan na yung mga violation ng kanilang karapatan, yung mga rapes, yung mga namamatay sila, whether namamatay sila dahil pinatay sila ng sarili nilang mga kasama o pinatay sila ng kalaban, that it doesn't matter, they die anyway. They continue to die. Basta pag ni-recruit ka, makikisama ka sa digmaang bayan, either maaresto ka, mamamatay ka, o mababaliw ka. So, nothing good comes out of it. So, the more na ilabas natin yung ganitong klaseng impormasyon, hindi na magiging uso kasi there was a time na uso talaga itong yung magiging rebelde. Now, we're trying to turn that by making it more available. The information is now more available so that the mothers, parents, fathers, family members, especially yung mga anak ng mga OFWs, maririnig nila, makikita nila itong impormasyon na ito at baka makapagdalawang isip sila bago sila ma-recruit. So, don't think that there's nothing being done about recruitment. Itong pagpapalaganap ng impormasyon, that is a positive act against recruitment. Ngayon, yung mga actual pagpapasok sa campus, what we need to do is work out a means so that we can directly address students. Pero there are certain approaches to that. Yun nga lang, kasi marami tayong nakikita, di ba, sa social media na itong mga batang to, mga rebelde kasi to, itong mga taga-UP, ganyan. These are divisive eh. You don't want to put kids on the defensive. What you want to do is to be able to convince you of the rightness and justness of your position, and insulting them might not be the way to go. Okay? But what is important is that we put the information out there. Sabi ni Lee Astete, wag na tayo mag-expect sa mga trad media, malamang nasa payroll sila ng terrorists. Well, to be fair, hindi naman po lahat ng media ay tinatawag natin corrupted or pumapanig sa kabilang side. Karamihan sa mga media, they like the idea of promoting itong mga rebelde kasi yun yung sexy. Parang yan kung ano yung exciting, yun ang ilalabas nilang storya because violence sells, rebelliousness sells, all of these. Yung mga nice things like, nagdagdag tayo ng 10,000 roads and bridges. Hindi yan sexy eh. Di ba? Maganda, gusto nila away. Gusto nila yung extremes of emotion. That's what the media likes to report. Minsan nakaka-addict din po kasi yun. Yung puro yun lang ang binabasa natin. Pansinin mo, halimbawa, sa social media, pagka may isa dyan, nagmura, ikaw, PI, sunod. Ang daming nagla-like. Naming nagre-react. Aminin ninyo yan because as much as possible, I really don't like doing that eh. Pero, itabi nyo kunwari, ang Luminous dun sa isang site na mura lang na mura, ikaw, ganyan. Mas marami ang pupunta dun sa site na puro mura lang. Diba? Because that is the nature of things. We like extremes of emotion. We like the drama. So don't wonder why the media likes to report on the rebellion, on crime, di ba? Pagka nag-report sila ng rape, ganyan, ako, daming bumibili. Same with reporting on the underground, reporting on the side of the rebels, reporting on the side of the people who take up arms against the government. Reporting about the government can be boring. Di ba? Bad news sells. So, dun sa kahit sa social media, tignan nyo. Di ba? O kahit saan mo makita, magdagdag ka lang ng nanyo. Dami na mag-subscribe, dami na magaganon. Sa social media, the hate goes first, the hate gets more hits first, and then second is the information. Sa amin, okay lang yon. Basta nandun kami consistently dun sa second, we will sell the information. That's more important. Diba? Yan, sabi ni Roderos Luminous, dyan sila makakuha ng big viewers at followers, kaso ibang dating, puro negative. Gusto nila. Yun, totoo yan. Gusto nila, puro negative. O di sige, mababenta yan. Pero aminin ninyo, tinatangkilik ninyo yung negative. Because it's human nature, ganun talaga. But, after na you get your dose of excitement, after that, you're going to have to look, teka, ano ba talaga nangyari? Sige, posibleng, ang daming gory pictures. Some people like to see those gory pictures, but after the gory pictures, you want to know what happened. Now, you're going to go after the person who can tell you the story. So, yun na yung second tier. Di ba? Yeah, in fact, in the blogging world, because visuals matter, so kailangan maganda yung nag-vlog or cute or whatever or funny or something. There's always a hook. But the person who will just give you plain information, you won't want to read that. Or at least that's not what we have trained ourselves to do. Sabi ni Alvin de Cruz, according to General Gapay, AFP chief, there will be potential acquisition of F-16 fighter jets as the Philippine military modernization continues. Yes, but the fighters, the F-16s, are not for the insurgency. They're for national defense. Love the evolution of Luminous, sabi ni Ian Roger Poral. Almost daily live updates, interactive live chat. YouTube is rich, not just FB and branding interface. It's refreshing every time we watch. Yes. But mahirapan pa rin talaga ako mag-TikTok. May I ask why is it that government schools or university heads don't allow our soldiers or policemen or women to enter into schools to disseminate what this CPP and PANDF and drugs pinupondohan ng gobyerno. The PNP actually is allowed into schools when they lecture on the drug campaign and all of that. The PDEA is allowed to lecture in schools. So that's not the issue here. It is the schools that choose who gets to come in. Private schools have leeway. Sino yung papapasukin nila? The University of the Philippines, they have an existent MOA. But even nung nandun ako as an undergraduate, meron kaming sariling university police force. Hindi pinapapasok yung mga outside o kailangan magko-coordinate muna sila with the local police. As to coming in for purposes of lecturing, it is really up to the school to determine the academic thrust of the university or the school. Yan ang tinatawag nating academic freedom. It is really up to the school to determine sino yung papasok. It is up to the school to determine kung sino yung i-include nila, sinong mag-enroll, sinong magtuturo, anong ituturo. It's really up to them. That is what we call the constitutionally protected right of academic freedom. Nasa Xavier University nag-aaral anak ko, sabi ni Ayal Dulanas. But the problem is, binibrainwash sila ng isang teacher nila against the government. May pwede pa ba ako gawin to stop the brainwashing of our kids? Yes. The parents can actually talk to the school authorities, to the administration, and to the teacher about this particular opinionating, the editorializing of what the children learn. But in the end, they will say that they can choose what to teach and the teacher is allowed to choose what to teach, then you will have to make the choice of whether or not your son will continue in that school. Diba? So, yun yung nagiging naiiwan na choice para sa atin. Oo, lumayo yung mic ko. Nilayo eh. Planes are not for insurgency, sabi ni Josh Espiritu. Choppers ang para sa insurgency. Pati drone, sabi nga ng spokes ng Air Force sa Karambola. Okay, ayan na uli. Dapat may batas na panagutin ng school sa mga estudyanteng na-recruit na aktivista kung ito'y mawala. Here's the thing, how do you know kung sa campus sila na-recruit or off-campus? You're going to have to prove that in order to hold anybody liable. Ganito yan ha. Liability attaches only after due process. And what is due process? There has to be a law, there has to be a process, there has to be evidence. Okay? Thank you kay Zef Cabaron. Nagre-reklamo mahina daw. Okay. O, ayan. Yung ibang vlogger, basura content ang pinapakain sa viewer at gusto naman ng ibang Pinoy. Well, yun na nga eh. That's the choice of the viewer or the people who watch. Some people are not interested in being informed. They're really interested in being entertained. Or sometimes you want to be entertained. Other times you want to be informed. Ganun talaga yun. Ba? Recruiters have a profile of students, sabi ni Pinay Paparazzi, that they're looking for. Those who are smart, have a view on things like their life situations, and seem to have a weak relationship with their parents as targets. Yes, matagal na po namin pinupost yan sa Luminous. Particularly, gustong-gusto nila yung mga vulnerable, yung mga anak ng OFWs, yung mga feeling left behind, feeling alone, walang organization, naghahanap ng kapatid, ano pa. Pero kailangan matatalino, kailangan sumasama. Gusto nila rin ng followers, of course. Pero they also like to look for people who are articulate. So that's why College Editors Guild of the Philippines, those are smart, articulate kids. They pass the exams, the editorial exams for their schools' newspapers, and usually those only get the best and the brightest. Okay? That's why galit kayo sa UP kasi ang tingin niyo dahil maraming matatalino doon, maraming recruitment. Baka gusto niyo tumingin din sa PUP, di ba? Sabi ni Ian Roger Poral, yung recruitment din po kaya nagaganap din sa mga private or madalas sa public schools, talaga sila humahatak. Posible din po yon. That's why you have to be careful about what schools your kids are going to be enrolled in. Di ba? Minsan tuwa tayo kasi, uy, magandang school itong napasukan, pero you also have to monitor your child's progress. Hindi naman tayo nawawala ng obligasyon, hindi komot yung anak natin ay nasa school, most of the time, or dun siya tinuturuan, wala na tayong obligasyon as parents to continue teaching our kids. Sabi ni TND, Fam TV, Pagaling na po ba kayo? Wala na pong migraine? Opo, it only lasts about 3 or 4 hours usually or 5. Uy, maraming salamat kay Zeph, kay Seth, at kay Ma'am Emily. Thank you. Sometimes I get my kicks reading yung mga propaganda ng kalaban, sabi ni Ian Abella ng gobyerno. Then I go to the pages of Luminous, Smart Reset, TP, and other bloggers. Then kalmado na ako ulit. Talaga, inaano mo muna, ina-agitate mo muna sarili mo, di ba? Okay. Kaya nga, we the consumer have the power, sabi ni Christina Mosura. Stop patronizing third media at saka yung kabilang parlor, we're giving them engagement, kaya malaki yung reach nila. Agree. Kahit po sa mga sectors ng manggagawa, sabi ni Renato Baingco, nag-recruit din sila, lalo na yung mga nasa unions. Yes, I agree. Doon na talaga, happy hunting grounds. That's why even sa government service, malakas ang recruitment nila dyan. Sabi ni Presi Salvador, good Friday afternoon. Lucky today na tiyampahan ko yung live stream ng Luminous. Missed ko po kayo sa karambola. Hope your migraine is gone. Opo, wala na po. Ma'am, dahan-dahan po tayo sa all caps. So kaya ganun lang po ang mga lumad school, sabi ni Joshua Spiritu, under academic freedom kaya they teach what they want. No, may difference yan. Yung mga schools that go to the lumad communities saying na sila ay ang binibenta nila kasi, tinatanggap sila ng mga communities kasi ang benta nila is, at least merong magtuturo sa inyo, walang DepEd kasi dito, kami na lang ang magtuturo sa inyo. Yung ibang mga lumad nagrereklamo, pinangakuan daw sila na kapag pumasok sila dito sa mga schools na ito, makakapag high school sila later on sa syudad. Yung pala, hindi enough yung mga tinuturo sa kanila. So, yun ang yun yung reason kung bakit nakakapasok sila. Hindi na academic freedom yan kasi they're not technically recognized schools. Sinabi na nga ng DepEd, hindi na nila kinikilala yung Salugpungan at saka Alcadev. Kasi nga daw, hindi enough yung tinuturo nila. So, ang ginagawa nila, they endeavor to put in the DepEd schools into the remote areas as much as possible. Kaya kung may kilala po kayong mga teachers ng mga DepEd schools na nagtuturo dun sa mga communities na yun, nako, dapat tinaguri ang mga bayani yung mga yan. Kasi pumupunta talaga sila dun sa mga remote na lugar at hindi po biro yun. Hello, scary yung nangyari last time sa Datu Piang. So, comforting talaga ang AFP modernization. I agree, sabi ni Checks and Lines yan. Salamat sa knowledge, sabi ni Zeph Cabaron. Sabi ni Marie Gardoque, correction, radical-minded. Okay. Di ba may nahuling member ng NUGP? Sabi nga daw nila, merong isang member, yung babae, na nahuli, pero under the same circumstances, may search warrant at nahulihan din daw po siya. Sabi ni Roldan Ranoco, mas gusto daw niyang makinig kaysa magtanong. Sabi ni Renato Baingco, kahit po sa mga sectors ng manggagawa, nag-recruit din sila, lalo na yung mga nasa unions. Okay, don't forget po, dun sa like and share po tayo bago natin ituloy-tuloy ito. Marami namang pagkakataon at we will endeavor to answer as many questions as possible. Weekend kasi ngayon sabi ni DJ Rowena, it saddened me when I saw YouTube videos of Banatbay versus TP because I like them both. It would be better if government or PRRD supporters are united at di nagsisiraan. Di lawans like it pag divided ang PRRD supporters. Ganito lang po yun we're all human. So, hindi po maiiwasan na sometimes we don't agree with each other constantly. Kadalasan we do. Pero there are times na hindi talaga. For instance, kunwari, hindi ako sold dun sa isang vlogger, hindi ko lang siya ipapatronize. Hindi ko siya pagsasalitaan ng masama dahil karamihan, I'm very introverted ako So, yung mga kakilala ko lang, yun lang usually yung kausap ko. And it's very slow for me to get to know new people, lalong-lalo na dun sa ibang mga vloggers. So, but that's my personal choice. Yung iba, gusto nila to be free to criticize even what other vloggers, even pro-Duterte or pro-administration vloggers say. And they're free to do that. Pati naman yung mga sinasabi ko, hindi naman ako exempt dun sa mga ibang mga vloggers na i-analyze or batikusin yung sinasabi ko. Ang ayoko lang, yung minimisinterpret ako, tsaka yung minimisquote ako. O kaya yung napapahamak kami kasi merong magpapirate, let's say, ng video namin, tapos i-misinterpret or palalabasin na iba yung sinabi namin, when actually we don't do that. So, yun na po yung nakakaano. Yun po yung nakakakos ng problema sa amin. Pero yung disagreeing among vloggers, I think that as long as we still agree on the basic things, then I don't see that as a problem. 'Di ba? Marami tayo, 91%. There's room. There's room for all of it. Sabi ni Rodnel Gasis, true po ba na 80 years old and above ang senior may makukuha sa government? Wala pa po akong nakikitang guidelines on that, assuming totoo po yun. Sabi ni Maria Gardoque, schools should refrain from hiring radical-minded faculty. Ang tanong, what do you mean by radical? Kasi actually, we have to be careful with the use of our words. Activist, radical, these things could be completely innocent. Maybe what we should say is we shouldn't hire leftist or communist faculty, or those who will espouse communism as an ideal. Or, you can discuss communism as an academic subject. That's not a problem. But really, we can't stop people from expressing their opinions. That is part of the freedom of speech. So when you say radical and activist and all of that, nagkakagulo-gulo yung usapan, kaya nagmumukhang oppressive yung presidente. Because we make the mistakes. We keep saying na, yan, aktivista yan, kailangan i-aresto yan. Activism is not a crime. Communism is not a crime. Radicalism is not a crime. Why? Liberalism even is not a crime. Because when you talk about radicalism, you're talking about ideas. You're talking about ideas that fall off the beaten path, that are not within the conservative norm. But there's nothing wrong with that. Radicals are people like scientists who go beyond the established theories and improve other things, new things. We can't discover things if we're not radicalized, if there are no activists. We're not angry at activists. We're not angry at the radicals. We're angry at the people who commit crimes. Rebellion is a crime. Raising arms against the government is a crime. Recruiting for organizations that raise arms against the government, that ought to be a crime if it isn't already. Pero don't get mad at activists in general. That's not what we're here for. So watching from California, si Romulo Celebrados, mabuhay daw kayo. Thanks for all the information. Okay na po ba yung migraine nyo? Okay, once and for all, okay na po yung migraine ko. Kaya po ako nagla-live kasi nga wala po ako sa karambola kanina and I feel like parang nabitin tayo. Thank you kay Rayu Matsumoto. Hello, pangkape daw. Pagka nagkakape, walang migraine. Hindi ko po naunahan lang yung migraine. It came early. May balita po ba kayo sa Pau Forensics Lab budget? Wala pa pong sinasabi si Pau Chief eh. So, President na lang ang tanging pag-asa. Hindi po ganun. Hindi pa po. We don't know. The only thing we know is that we don't know. The Senate was the one that inserted, the Senate was the one that inserted the provision. The House did not. So the BICAM is supposed to reconcile those two provisions. Hindi po natin alam kung ano yung naging outcome doon. Hindi din po alam ni Pau Chief. So stop saying na, naku, presidente na lang, or make people lose hope. Wait lang, si Pau Chief nga nagsabi, hindi pa nila alam. So as long as hindi pa natin alam, we don't know. Okay? That's all we know is that we don't know. Stop saying na presidente na lang because we don't know what appears in the final form of the budget. Sabi ni Teresa Sanggalang, okay na sila. For me, okay na sila. Attorney Trixie and Attorney Ahmed, they're doing great without collaborating with other vloggers. We don't not collaborate. Naman. We do talk a lot. We talk a lot. We try to get together, some of us. Si TP malayo ngayon, so hindi namin siya nakikita. But it also doesn't mean that we get together and then we all agree lahat tayo magpo-post ng ganito. Well, sometimes we for instance, help, may problema ang Luminous, they come and help. But we don't require it. Okay? So just so you have an idea of how that we do get along. Okay? And that there's no organized group of vloggers. It just so happens na nagkakilala kami and we became friends. But not all of us are friends and not all of us get along. As much as possible, we also like to keep it real between ourselves, di ba? Sabi ni Maximo Liano, pag aklas ay hindi masama, ang masama hahawakan ng armas laban sa gobyerno upang palitan o bilang sila ang maging gobyernong komunista. Sabi ni Ian Abelia, kailangan pa rin lang, thank you Kayset, uli. Kailangan pa rin sa bahay pa lang ay inaayos ang values ng kabataan, wag puro gadgets, talk openly with their kids, find out how they feel about it, what's happening sa labas, and all that. Yes, of course, but that's easier said than done. We all know that. And I don't like then the idea of blaming parents when their kids go astray. Parents do the best that they can. I don't see any parents who never even tried unless, but they do exist. My point is this, that parenting is hard as it is. Let's not blame the parents. Sometimes they do the best they can and it still fails. Okay. Sabi ni Ma'am April, why some sending money here? I tried to but failed because I'm not using any debit or credit card. I'm using an all-in-one mobile wallet to send money online. Okay. I did promise we're going to fix that. So that there's like I think we have a PayPal somewhere here. We'll add it to the information somewhere. Kasi dito may purpose yung yung dito it's so that I will notice. The general purpose is that we will notice your comment. Pero the others, they use it as a means to send coffee so that hindi mainit ang ulo ko. Sabi ni Betlo G, armed or verbal struggle, that's still sedition. No, you have to be careful. Sedition, or inciting to sedition, sedition is when you try to remove power from a government official or prevent him from doing his job or prevent him from executing the law or prevent him from occupying office or prevent him from staying in office and all that or keep him from staying in office. So, in the meantime, inciting to sedition is when you exhort people to do exactly that, to deprive a government official of power, of the ability to execute the laws and all that. Sabi ni Ian Robles, bakit hindi mahuli-huli si Jose Maria Sison? Bakit? Hinuhuli ba natin? How can we do that? He's not here. Diba? Our jurisdiction only extends to our territorial jurisdiction and possibly to our embassies and consulates. But he's in a foreign country, so how are we going to do that? We can ask for extradition, but we have no extradition treaty with the Netherlands, and that's precisely one of the reasons why he sought asylum there. He was not given asylum, but his stay in the Netherlands really is up to the government of the Netherlands. Sabi ni Felix Servidad, na-miss namin yung malulutong mong halakhak sa karambola. Sorry po, andyan na po ako sa Monday. Sabi ni Ma'am Presi, sorry sa caps lock. Easy po to type at visible, especially po kapag nasa bus or train, traveling, I cannot take po yung, salamat po sa advice. Ay, okay po ma'am. Just don't do it too often. Kasi minsan, in online etiquette, it means that you're shouting. Pero naintindihan ko na may mga seniors who cannot see it. So what we usually advise them to do is lakihan nyo yung screen. And that's possible po to expand your screen so that you can see the letters clearly. Sabi ni Checks and Lines, can you please explain issue with NAIA at Mega Prime? Pidut sent them a letter. Does that mean po NAIA will be truly renovated na? No. The president actually thanked them for the good work that they did in Cebu and invited them to participate dito sa rehabilitation ng NAIA. So, Megawide sent an unsolicited proposal. Thank you kay Jason Beslig. I don't want to overdose you daw on caffeine. So, he's now is free tea. Okay, so Megawide sent in unsolicited proposal. It was reviewed by the DOF and vetted by the DOTR, which has jurisdiction over airports. What happened was that supposedly the DOF said that they don't have sufficient assets, but the day after they made that announcement, the next day, Megawide sent them a letter saying, no, we have sufficient assets, so you might be mistaken. Please have a look at it again. In the meantime, they were awarded original proponent status, but they need to solve this problem of assets. Okay? In the meantime, there seems to be the prevailing theories na sinasabotahe itong Megawide. Among other things, some of the commentators are saying, halimbawa, syempre, the DOF secretary is aligned or used to work for one of those who had also proposed to rehabilitate NAIA, which is the Ayalas. On the other hand, there are some others who want to get that original proponent status. So, syempre, siraan. We're not yet sure exactly kung sino yung naninira dito. Ang na-identify lang natin, the one speaking on behalf of whatever corporation that is Congressman, it appears to be Congressman Coco Nograles. So we'll see, hindi pa po yan sure. We're waiting for the awarding to Megawide. But Megawide seems to still hold the advantage right now. It's just fun watching this. But it's also nice to see if Megawide will get it because they did such a good job, as the President has attested, in Cebu. Wala po bang magagawa ang gobyerno, sabi ni Samson Sangga. Ang gobyerno natin para mapabalikin si Joma sa bansa natin. We can enter into an extradition treaty with the Netherlands, pero wala pa, hindi pa natin nagagawa yan. Sabi ni Roldan Ranoco, bakit yung mga koko pasaway? Baka kailangan si Harry the Caller dyan sa issue. Haha, sabi ni Ian. Tama. O, yung maraming nanonood, hindi ko kayo nakikita mag-comment. Comment po kayo, don't be shy. Okay? Sabi ni Milo Maine, always informative. Si Ma'am Shirley Calzada is watching from Hong Kong. Si Romulo Celebrados is watching from California. Mabuhay din daw. Leo Gabriel is watching from Vancouver. And DDTs, LJGDD is watching from UK. Jeremiah Malanum says, akala ko nagpahinga kayo kasi may sakit kayo. Wala po kasi kayo sa karambola. You know, my migraine only lasts about 3 or 4 hours. Sabi ni Christopher De Los Santos, shoutout daw sila bago po ako sa channel mo. And he's from Toronto, Canada. Hi, Christopher. Sabi ni Christina Hermosura, okay din to. Kaya lang walang masyadong news tungkol dun sa nahuling babae, yung journalist, kasi walang baby. Ang galing nyo. Si Orly Lapus Reno saying na na-miss niya kami sa Karambola kanina. Sabi ni Dang Matos, wag daw po siyang batiin sa pakikinig. At salamat, sabi ni Dang Matos. Talaga, nag-crossover na yung sarcasm natin from Karambola to here. Sabi ni Sky Dims, do you read fiction novels? What are your favorites po? Well, I read science fiction and fantasy novels, but I also read a lot of the expository ones. I'm reading, yun nga, yung mga Homo sapiens and all, stuff like that for my archaeology. I read a lot of horror novels, but I think I've outgrown Stephen King. Maybe if he comes up with a new novel, I'll go back. I love Neil Gaiman. Good evening. Nabasa ba ninyo yung comment ni dating Justice Carpio na malabo daw na ma-impeach si Justice Leonen kasi mahina daw ang kaso nila, sabi ni Michael Alava. Justice Carpio is somebody I hold in high esteem. He was a brilliant justice, and although I don't agree on some of his opinions, I think that he's brilliant. However, what he is doing is he's evaluating Attorney Larry Gadon's case based on Attorney Larry Gadon's case. But we all know that impeachment proceedings are largely political, and it is always a game of numbers. So sometimes it doesn't matter what the evidence is. Halimbawa, in the case of Justice Corona, where they were even still looking for evidence in the course of the Senate trial, they should not have convicted him. But there were some very persuasive elements there, allegedly in the form of cash. Allegedly. So, diba? Justice Carpio might have a good evaluation of the evidence here, but in the end, it is still political. So we will see. Sabi ni Joselito Hailo, pwede ba siyang kasuhan sa Netherlands? I doubt it. Shout out. Sabi ni Rain403, Archie Alsario is watching from New York. Herlisa M is watching from the UK. Romel Justo is watching from Kuwait. Sarap talaga makinig sa inyo, sabi ni Clarence Anthony. Ada June Asis is watching from Kuwait also. Sabi ni Ma'am Gigi Atienza, she watches me everywhere. We thank you, ah. I haven't been doing Facebook Live lately kasi I swear, Facebook, I swear talaga. But we will go back to doing live, and once we fix our software, we'll be able to do live simultaneously here on YouTube and on Facebook. So cross your fingers for that time. Sabi ni Rosemary Dasa, Philippine National Identity Card is for all citizens or may age limit? Wala pong age limit. Sabi ni Ma'am Mia, okay lang, nandito ka naman at CHEV. Oy, andito na kayo. Sabi ni Ayat Jao, he's an avid fan of Carambola. Rene Mikiabas is from Cagayan de Oro City and he's watching from there. Sabi ni Jason, Jama season is so old that he has no control over what the NPA is doing. All he is a start point, an origin, a failed experiment, or a very powerful symbol. Diba? Regardless, he still should be made accountable for his crimes, if any. Salamat kay Ma'am Teresa Sanggalang. Let me see. Sorry. Are you and Coach Jared friends? He often cites your comments kasi, especially about Philippine laws. No. Does he say nice things? I don't know. I should see him, diba? I should see what he posts, but I don't know. I don't know Coach Jared. Maybe I come across him sa Twitter. Not sure. Kaya nga na-miss ka namin kanina kasi libreng-libre si Boss Conrad, sabi ni Roldan Ranoco. Uy, grabe kayo kay Boss Conrad. Pwede na po makatawag sa Bethlehem? Tinatanong ni Elmer Bernardino. I seriously doubt that. Tinatanong ni Dilaw Limas, Tete, how old are your dogs? Yoshi is 3 and Harry is 13. In people years yan, ha? Sabi ni Jason, what's wrong with us here? Nothing. I just want to do simultaneous ones because there are different reaches in different areas. Unless you're very, very good at promoting the YouTube, then sige, then we can just do only YouTube live. So dapat nagla-like and share kayo constantly and you get more people to follow here and on Luminous. 'Di ba? Yun yung kabayaran. In fact, that's the only payment we're really asking for here is to make sure that more people come over here so that we talk to a lot more people and we get more points of view. Points of view. Tama. Thank you, Ma'am Teresa. Feeling ko parang bawal na ako mag-absent sa Karambola Tambayan at Luminous Live to think I'm here in New York. Ay, may mga replay naman po. Follower po ako sa FB and YouTube. Pa-shoutout, sabi ni Raymond Maligon. Dito siya sa Qatar. Paano? Minsan na, ako di ba? Pag sinabing pa-shoutout, what am I supposed to do? Shout? Ganon? Kamusta kay Raymond Maligon? You can do live on both, sabi ni Jazz Petru. Sabi ni Ma'am Mia, naka-like and share na po. Okay. Opo, pero it's also nice if you can convince other people. Like, for instance, if you have kids or something like that, kahit di na lang sila manood, mag-like lang sila or follow. Dun sa lalo-lalo na yung dun sa Facebook natin. Even if they don't participate on the page, just like and follow because it opens up a different audience. It goes into their news feed and other people will be able to see it. Where we want to re-establish the reach that people have been trying to throttle. Sabi ni Maki T, I share by sending them the link. Mas pinapansin nila pag 2 PM pag pinadalang link. Uy, salamat! Okay, wala na po bang questions? Pero, di ba, wala na po bang questions about the insurgency here? Pero I hope that you can see, no, kung ano talaga yung ginagawa nila dito. What the AFP, they're covering as many areas as possible, not just the physical battle, which is in the, in the countryside, in the jungles, in the hills, and all of that. Isa yon. Yung propaganda is another area, nagyara din yan. Kaya nga yung mga ginagawa ng kaliwa, sinasabi nila, ay, kung may ebidensya kayo, file kayo ng kaso, hindi yung ngak-ngak na lang kayo ng ngak-ngak. Excuse me, may value po yung ngak-ngak na yon. Because that's also giving us information. It's giving information about the activities of these people, and it helps our kids to make the choice not to join. Diba, nabibigyan sila ng choice. Hindi pwedeng yung kabila lang yung naririnig, and that's why umaangal sila. All that red tagging BS is pure BS. They're not in danger. Most of us know about yung ugnayan nila. Alam na natin yan eh. Pero yung mga kabataan baka hindi. Diba? And so, pag nakikita nila yung kaugnayan na ganun, kasi sasabihin nila, ay gusto kong baguhin yung mundo. Pero pag nakita nila, itong sinasalihan nila, ay may tie-up pa rin sa mga politiko. Eh di same thing, same old lang yan. Mga trapo sila eh. Diba? Bakit magbabago? Itong mga trapo, ayaw naman nila talaga ng pagbabago kasi nagsusurvive, nagtathrive sila sa ganitong, sa ganitong sitwasyon, sa ganitong mga conditions. Why would they want to change things? Absent daw si CHEV kanina sa Karambola at Tambayan dahil may lakad. Sabi ni Hil Bolaños, may bigat ba ang persona ng Grata sa Maynila kung sakaling magkaroon para bawalan magrally ang mga activists? Actually, it really just reflects an opinion or the sense of the legislators there. Pag persona non grata, it means you're not welcome in the city. What is the practical effect of that? Well, in general, pwede kang i-refuse ng service, for instance, sa government, sa local government. Yun basically is it. Diba? Thank you kay Jason ulit. Filipinas, nasa na ba yun? Okay. I lost some FB friends, sabi ni Jazz Petru. When they found out I'm a follower of pro-admin influencers like Luminous, I am so sorry about that. Sa amin lang, nagalit sila sa'yo because you were following us. Sorry. Sana next live ituloy na po natin ang food vlog, usapang pagkain pero hindi gutom habang live ang and history po again. I'm so interested to know about history, my favorite subject in school. Okay, sige next time. Weekend is coming up, so weekend usually may history tayo. Sabi ni Ian Abelia, balitaan nyo ba? Ume-epal na naman si Grace po dyan sa tall RFID issue. Mainit talaga kay Sec Art. Masusoplak na naman kay Lolo Art. I agree. But, usually, what I do is not comment on Senator Grace, and I let what she says and does speak for itself. Diba? Kasi hindi mo na kailangan gatungan minsan eh. Sabi ni Ronald Darwan, sabi nga ng former boss ko, tridol talaga mga NPA during peace talks and ceasefire. Mas lalo nila inaatake yung kasundaluhan natin. Agree. Hi kay Carlos Cruz from SG. Sabi ni Mamia, may offer ang government sa mga magbabalik galing bundok ang pinatayong house peace. Maganda nakita ko kanina sa Twitter. Matagal na po yan, yung mga balik loob. Pwede yan eh. Bibigyan sila ng housing, bigyan sila ng pagkakataon makapagtrabaho. So, these are good things. Sabi ni Checks and Lines, my family and friends follow Luminous na po. Thank you. Buti nga ngayon, sabi ni Ma'am Christina Hermosura, nakikita yung value ng pagpapa-enlist at pagiging reservist dito sa SOCMED. A lot of my friends and relatives all over the world, sabi ni Archel Sario, they're tuning in with Karambola because I'm sharing it every Sunday to Thursday here in New York. Dami niya sa New York, galing! One of these days, punta kami dyan. From FB link, di ka makakomment. Sabi ni Leo Gabriel, that's why you have to go here. You shouldn't be sorry. Attorney, sabi ni Jazz Petro, pinadali nila yung paglinis ng SOCMED ko. I'm not bothered. Ako din, I've lost some friends. A lot of them really old friends from undergraduate days and college, mga ganon. Also some high school classmates na pag nakikita yung pangalan ko, it's followed by a string of 4-letter words. Noong una, affected pa ako. Pero ngayon, dead ma. Kebs. If you don't want me, I don't want you. Ganun lang kasimple yan, di ba? Besides, we're all too old to be worried about what other people still think about us. Balik loob NPAs receive I think 2 million individually, sabi ni Checks and Lines, a bit too much in my opinion. Kasi how do you start a new life nga naman? Gusto ni Pangulo, yung start nila is so that they don't go back. Hindi sila yung maghanap na makabalik sila. Sabi ni Ken, Ken Valdeo is watching from Bangkok, Thailand. Huwag kang dadaan dito sa LA, sabi ni Hener Carlos, sobrang taas ng COVID. Di pa naman ako aalis ng bansa. I don't think pwede pa. Sabi ni Ma'am Pinay Paparazzi, then those people are not your friends. Exactly, they're not. Or at least not anymore. Maybe before we were friends, pero now no more na. I think in general, a lot of us, sa mga blogger friends ko, it's a fairly common story. Sabi ni Ma'am Christina Hermosura, natutuwa ako pag biglang may nanyo sa post expecting na AGP sign pero si PCA pala. Ako actually yung gumawa ng phrase na yan. Why do you keep saying ito sa Ahmed? Ahmed will say the whole thing. Isa pa pong question, sabi ni Michael Alava, kahit po si Deputy Rodriguez po ay parang pabol din sa pag-impeach kay Justice Leonen. Sa tingin ninyo, may chance po kaya na makausad yan sa Congress? You know, I asked Attorney Larry, when he was in Carambola, kung supportive ba si Speaker Velasco, and he said supportive naman siya. Winelcome daw siya. Nakapunta pa siya sa Speaker's office, nag-meet sila, and pinaandal naman daw ni Speaker yung kanyang complaint. In fact, yun nga yung sinasabi ni Speaker Velasco, mukhang hindi matatapos yung preliminaries within December, so tuloy-tuloy na yan by next year. So, I have no reason yet to doubt na magtutuloy-tuloy yung kaso. As to prospering, whether the congressman will be convinced of the validity of the case or the necessity of impeaching Justice Leonen, that remains to be seen. Pero as far as we can see, wala pang hadlang. Totoo bang pwede maging sundalo ang mga ex-NPA? Hindi ba magkaproblema ang AFP sa bandang huli kasi maalam nila yung hindi po sila allowed. As far as I can see, they become military assets. Ganon din. Dati kasi may ganong programa dun sa mga rebel returnees na secessionists dun sa Mindanao. However, there were some instances where there were problems. So, hindi na po nila, hindi ko alam kung tinuloy pa rin nila yon. Ma'am, Sir Ariel Valera is watching from Hong Kong. Hi. LL Coco is watching from New York City. Sabi ni Ma'am Pinay, sana hindi two-faced yung Lord na yan. Sana nga. Sabi ni Elmer Bernardino, bakit po pag may kaya o kilalang tao, justice ang ina-apply sa kanila? Bakit po pag tayong mga hampas lupa, justice na lang? Totoo yan. Diba? Totoo yan. Tingnan na si Attorney Larry, diba? Nasampahan siya ng mga administrative cases. O ilang sunod-sunod, sinuspend siya. Bakit ang isang mahistrado ng Korte Suprema parang makakalusot pa? Diba dapat sumusunod sa patakaran ng isang mahistrado ng Korte Suprema dahil nawawalan tayo ng tiwala sa hukuman kapag hindi nila ginawa ito? Bakit yung mga hampas lupang abogado napaparusahan? Tapos ito yan. Bakit si Laila de Lima? Dapat pinarusahan siya. Dapat tuloy-tuloy yung kaso niya. Ano nangyari sa kanyang disbarment case na dismiss? Wala tayong naririnig eh. Diba? O inuupuan. What's going on with that one? Pero ito kung gusto ninyo na magkaroon ng disciplinary case si Laila de Lima, inamin niya yung kanyang frailties of a woman, maaari pong gamitin yon bilang kaso sa IBP, sa Supreme Court tsaka sa IBP. If you just want to file the case. Sabi ni Archel, we'll be more than happy to see you here personally in New York, pero wag lang ngayon at mataas ang COVID. Agree, hindi wala pa pong magka-travel. Tsaka nakakahiya naman, sinasabi natin sa mga tao, oy, hinay-hinay muna sa travel, wag muna tayo magpilit kasi nga may COVID. Tapos ako yung aalis, kakahiya. Sabi ni Orly Lapus, there's an opinion piece from the Daily Tribune today regarding Associate Justice Leonen, alleged 5 million bribe given to MILF officials during peace talks in Malaysia in 2011. Please comment po if this can be a ground for impeachment. No, grounds for impeachment should be for acts committed while in the office that you're trying to impeach him from. So, malabo yan. But it does go into his character, if ever. Or if you can prove it in court, it later on becomes a criminal case. But right now, he is immune from suit while he is a justice of the Supreme Court. Totoo na oust Velasco pasok Marcoleta, sabi ni Seth Cabaron. Wala pa akong naririnig na... Hindi, ganito. Naririnig ko yung rumor but I haven't heard it from somebody who is speaking out of personal knowledge. Sabi ni Aldrin, usapang telco, nearly 10,000 permits were issued to telco companies within the past 5 months. The Anti-Red Tape Authority, meron na po bang tower na napatayo? Wala pa po. Wala pa po. In fact, ang sabi nga, 2,000 lang 2,000 lang ang nagkaroon ng permits. Yun yung narinig ko sa Karambola the other day. Sabi ni Luisito Ison, good morning from Seattle, Washington. I'm so thankful for what you're doing for the Filipino people. Learning a lot from you. Mabuhay kayo. Okay, salamat po. Why are NPA, tinatanong ni Jason, so special to be given all this luxury? We have homeless people and barely eating 2 times a day. We have so much poverty, yet we try so hard to survive. Why are NPA given this luxury? Oh, don't forget, we have the 4-piece program for the people who are living in abject poverty. That's not true. So why do we do this? It is to break the back of the NPA. If we don't convince people to leave their ranks and to leave them in droves, then we will not break the insurgency. That's the purpose here. It isn't because we're favoring them. It's because we need to break it. And this is one of those ways. Sabi ni Carlos Cruz, education po dapat ang unang priority upang umunlad po ang Pilipinas. Education is always a priority. Sabi sa Saligang Batas yan, kaya yung biggest budget na pupunta po talaga sa DepEd at saka sa CHED. Sabi ni sabi ni Judd Villanueva, request po topic in the future about legal action on other women for more than a decade already. Scenario, legit, nasa abroad, ang other woman nasa Pinas, possibilities. I think we talked about that before regarding the inequity of the laws. Sabi ni Chev, worst example of justice, defunding of the forensic team. Again, we don't know yet, for sure. What can you say about Facebook being sued for trying to monopolize social media? Have they been sued yet? They're under investigation by the US Senate. I don't know about the suing yet. As far as I can see is it's an investigation. Any comment dun sa sinulat ni former Justice Carpio? We already did. My brother's fiancé was pregnant at the time, sabi ni Neil Verve, was ambushed by the NPA in the hinterlands of Malindang Mountain after giving relief to the Subanin Katutubo a long time ago. My gosh. I have friends killed by the NPA. I don't talk about them. But there it is. Died while they were very young. I have friends who were ambushed, survived by the NPA, but may bakal pa rin yung katawan nila hanggang ngayon. Sabi ni Christina Hermosura, anyone can file a case against Laila sa page ni Senyora. Dami kasing mga may galit doon. Grabe kayo. I wish PRRD would stay in the presidency for 1 more term, sabi ni DJ Rowena. Mahirap makahanap like him for president. I agree. Sabi ni Ma'am Teresa, here in the US, lots of Facebook users are moving to Parler. Ang problema ng Facebook is if they face an antitrust suit, they can get into serious trouble for that. Sabi ni Ronald Darwan, ayaw ng politika ang edukadong tao, either mas malaki ang budget nila pambili ng boto o kaya ay hindi nila maluloko. Agree? Sabi ni Seth, carry naman tayong mga hampas lupa sa signal ng telcos pero nakakabuisit lang yung after sales. Ay, totoo. Matitiis ko yung, kabagalan for a while. Pero minsan yung paggaling ka abroad, di ba? Tapos, sa airport lang nila, bilis ng internet. Tapos pagdating mo dito, para ka nakadial up. Tapos hindi ka, yung mga tipong hindi ka pinapansin sa service. Alright. Sabi ni Bobby Fajardo, is it true there are now 29 deputy speakers of the House? Former Speaker Cayetano was criticized for having 22 Now 29. Wow, more government funds for allocation. Yes, it is true. But why is it na hindi ganun kumbaga, kaingay? Parang ang tingin ko kasi with just 2 years to go, there's not much really left to be done. Mababahala lang talaga ako if they start franchise proceedings for ABS-CBN because this Congress already denied it. Sabi ni Avelino Taroy, bakit yung isang justice from the Court of Appeals na parusahan na halos pareho rin kay Leonin dahil hindi para ba umabot ng 100 yung case na hawak niya na walang result? May chika ako dyan. Ni-report ni TP that yung 80 plus cases that Justice Leonin allegedly has not acted on ay kulang pa daw ng mga administrative cases. Actually, what I heard was different. Yung 80 plus cases na yon ay those cases that involve the en-bank. Pero yung sa division, iba pa yung count ng mga cases that he has not resolved. So actually, it's more than 80. Tama pa rin si TP in the sense that there's more than 80. Sabi ni Jason, I have uncles and cousins who have been victims of NPA. Sabi ni Edril Padayhag, speaking of telcos, bakit ba sa towers sila busy? Di man mapabilis ng internet ang towers but extend the signal. Kung ano ang coverage nila ngayon, ang dapat nila i-prioritize, increase the speed. Agree naman, pero nililin lang nila yung Pangulo eh. Sabi ni Melo Maini, we should amend our educational curriculum to include the basic rights of Filipinos. Included na po yun kasi pinag-aaralan ng Constitution. And what they must expect from elected officials and to vote wisely, not name recollection. Unfortunately, tinuturo na nga po, part of the social studies program is the study of the Constitution both in high school and in college. Required po yan. Buenas noches from Madrid, from France J. Semana Santa. Meron ka bang chismax or naririnig na tatakbo si Mayor Sara or sa tingin mo magtatandem sila ni BBM? What's your personal opinion? I think that she can't afford to reveal her cards now. Kaya ako hindi ko sinasabing Mayor Sara for president even if I really, really, really want her to run or for whoever the president endorses to run. Kasi ayokong siraan siya, baka i-operate siya ng kalaban. That's why I'm keeping really, really quiet about preferences for president until malapit na yung campaign para hindi magkasiraan. Thanks as usual about for keeping us posted about current concerns. Okay, last 3 questions. Ay, Life with Dels. Maraming salamat. Pwede po isama for a light topic. What's in my bag? Would you believe I don't carry a handbag or a lady's bag? I always carry a knapsack. It's a habit from UP Law days. Kasi there's a time na we had so many books. So even when I was supposed to be bringing a briefcase, I brought a really large briefcase and it looked embarrassingly like a suitcase. So I stopped doing that. I would go to court even later on in my later days. Even while I was already practicing with a knapsack. So, what's in my knapsack? My iPad, cell phone, wallet, gadgets, additional gadgets, ganchillo, book, tissue, amulets, perfume. Sabi ni Maki T, parehas pala tayo, no purse for me, just my bayong. See? Diba kasi it's practical eh. Sabi ni Ma'am Pinay Paparazzi, I don't want to speak ill of Justice Leonen anymore. Somehow I know it affects you being his former student. I don't like speaking ill of him because I think that I still believe he was a good professor. He taught me everything I knew before I graduated on procedures in court, civil, criminal procedure and special procedures. My first cases were on estate cases, which was a subject that he taught, special proceedings. The negotiations, he taught us negotiations, he taught us strategy. He was a very, very good professor. He was also my co-counsel in the national artists case. And so I worked with him. And yes, it does affect me. But I know that he will also understand when I say that I hope he does the right thing and takes the high road. Because he's always been pro doing the right thing. So it surprises me that he has not presented a defense like, yes, I filed my sal-ins. Possibly because he doesn't want to lie. So for me, if he understands that this is an issue, he should know to do the right thing. Diba? Nahihirapan talaga ako. So, hindi ko talaga siya babalahurain or anything like that. But I will also still report on it and still be fair because it's also part of the national conversation. What Philippine history books palang recommended ninyo? Parati kong sinasabi, prehistory, read, searching for the ano ba yan? Prehistoric Filipino by William Henry Scott, and still Agoncillo, Constantino, etc. The basics first, and then I'm waiting for the other recommendations from my other history profs. Sabi ni Josh Espiritu, tignan nyo ginawa ni Duterte, naging substitute na lang siya. Pwede, di ba? Thank you, Jason. What happens when tactful solution from the government fails to rectify this insurgency? What other compromise do you think we can do to resolve this? I think we're not going to compromise. The military is doing all the right things. Ang sabi nila, 9.5 out of 10, they're winning it. So, I don't know what else to add to that for them, except dalian nila dun sa equipment, di ba? So far, that's the third time you were asked po in the past 3 live streams. O, totoo yan. My best friend, she is NPA, di lang umaamin kasi was already warned by Intel before. Then she left and flew to other country, but every time dito siya, she drags her kids sa mga rally kahit elementary kids lang sila. Oh dear. Di ba? Oh dear. But you know what, I used to believe that if I believe, then I would transfer that belief to my own kids. If your own kids don't believe the way you do, you either haven't convinced them or you're not intending to convince them. So, let's say Congressman Zarate, di ba? Obviously, his kid doesn't adhere to his beliefs, or he probably does, and Congressman Zarate is not being sincere. Naamoy siya ng anak niya. Ma'am Arlie Mars is watching from HK. Okay, last 2. Sabi ni Ma'am Christina Hermosura, I know pantay-pantay ang mga justices pero wala bang pwedeng gawin yung ibang justices dun sa mga pending cases? Well, dapat kasi, the justices, since they're a collegial body, they have to be able to correct each other. But with respect and with dignity because they are co-equals nga. But being co-equals doesn't mean di mo pwedeng pagsabihan yung kaibigan mo. Diba? So, I think that the nagkakahiyaan sa court. It's not, how do you call this? Most of the time in collegiate bodies like this one, collegial bodies like this one, they don't like na pakialaman yung iba. And that's such a Pinoy thing, kakahiyaan. Which is why it's going to Congress. You know what, the truth is, the Supreme Court could have settled this issue, yes. But they didn't. Ayaw na nila. They don't want a rehash or a replay of the Meilu Sereno scenario because it had them fighting among themselves and they don't like that. And they don't like the idea of having to discipline each other. They're supposed to, but it's more it's easier said than done. Yun. Should that be a law that justices check each other? Should Congress po make a law about that? No. The the Chief Justice, as the Chief Administrator, is also primus inter pares, and he's in a position to discipline the people who are in his court. Unfortunately, si Justice Peralta is already retiring in February and may not want to be able to, they may not want to take this up kasi baka hindi niya matapos. So it's also not fair for him to ask him to act on that. Maybe after February, there might be a different directive to the court. Rudy Nasaire is watching from Kona, Hawaii. I'm his wife's favorite daw. Max. Were you the ones who sent me the chocolate-covered macadamia nuts? Sarap. Sana matapos na problema natin sa NPA, sabi ni John Pacako. And ano yung sabi ni Red October, was Lapu-Lapu a real person or a myth? He was a real person. But it's the circumstances of the Battle of Mactan that are less discussed, or there are fewer people who know the politics of that. Most people like to think that Lapu-Lapu nga was fighting for the country. No, he wasn't. He was against Humabon, diba? He was he went against Trajo Humabon, who wanted to welcome the foreigners, and Lapu-Lapu and a few others did not. And this was about internal politics in that particular kingdom. Sabi ni Marites Lucas, ina-enjoy ko kape ko while nakikinig. Sabi ni Ma'am Christina, sana di mapinpansin yung oras. Thanks na agad kasi malapit na matapos. Opo, you don't want me talking beyond an hour, di ba? Sana magkaroon ng samahan ng pamilya ng mga sundalo at pulis na napatay ng mga communist NPA. Alam nyo, some of my friends who were with the military were considering putting up a party list for that, pero ayaw yata ng COMELEC. Maybe we should try that again. Yung mga retirees ng AFP, because maraming kailangan na loss for the retirees at saka yung mga namatayan and all of that. Wala pa silang retirement fund. Yung retirement benefits nila nanggagaling sa GAA, which is not a very secure source. So, sabi ni Jason, I read the circumnavigation of Magellan and his companions' ships. Last question from Bray Mata. Greetings from Thailand. Do you think it would be worth using the newly acquired Blackhawks against the NPA? I think that's the purpose. After mo mag-live 12-12 na sa shopping apps. O, kaya nga kailangan na magpaalam ngayon. Don't forget to like and share. Check nyo po if you click the thumbs up. And don't forget to share. Don't forget to share twice on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. Asarin natin, lalo na yung mga nasa Twitter. Don't forget to like and follow dun sa Luminous, and then like, comment, and share dun sa mga posts namin kasi as usual, we need more engagements para hindi kami tinatrattle ng FB. Maraming salamat sa tsaka lahat ng nagbigay. Maraming salamat sa lahat dun sa super chat. Oo, I know I promised yung PayPal or yung we have PayPal, Paymaya, and ewan ko GCash. Hindi pa ako nag-GCash eh. So, all of those will be posting here soon. Okay. I just need to know what the rules are here on YouTube. Maraming salamat. For the next, just send message to us on my personal account. Hindi ko nababasa parating sa Luminous for topics that you want to discuss again on the live here. Or you can put it here in the comment sections later on if you want a next topic to be discussed here on live. We try to do this every day except on days na natutulog ako. Maraming salamat sa pagsubaybay. I hope everybody has a good night.